Vert Design is what we call a design house. We use the term house very intentionally. There's another way we could describe it as a design consultancy, but I guess the thing we do that is different is we're also producing our own products. We're interested in creating meaningful outcomes to people, so looking at objects that during their use create good, and we're also very driven by sustainability. For us, manufacturing's key to what we do. We're still very much based in the artefact, so we're always looking to balance the type of manufacturing, the materiality, where we manufacture based on how the product needs to perform, the volumes in which it's being made, the price points, and it's sort of, for us, manufacturing forms a huge part of a commercialisation strategy. So obviously in design we're dealing in the realm of new ideas, and so in that intellectual property is hugely important. We don't have one single overarching strategy to how to treat intellectual property. It's very much helping tactically deliver on our client's strategy. So in each of those instances there'd be a very different IP strategy that would be applied, and sometimes the protection of the idea becomes what's saleable, and in other times it gives a client some confidence and surety to sort of go into the market, and in other times it can be an unnecessary burden that makes the product unviable because of the costs associated. We'll often recommend an IP lawyer or give some advice as to what we anticipate the IP strategy should be. When we take our own products to market, we often have to do the same exercise to say, at what sort of level of protection do we need to take. Design registrations are one of the most affordable and strongly executable forms of IP, and for us they're really preferable to patents. I can name 20 examples where what's a relatively cheap registered design has resulted in a very strong protection. We've been able to stop imports from coming in. We both get intentional copying and unintentional copying. We had an experience last year with a client who had some very intentional copying. We often wonder about the value of IP and its application, and in this instance they were able to have the product blocked from being sold in Australia. It's also being sold in Spain, and they were able to put a cease and desist and have it stop being sold in Spain. And that was a really great outcome. IP is not a cover-all strategy, and having a patent isn't a license to print money. And I think people often think that I've got a great idea, I'll have a patent, and then the money will flow in, where really what we're talking about is just protection, and you need to then have a broader commercialisation strategy that sits above it. And just going into that with their eyes open will help manage how do I limit the exposure of my IP costs while still getting the appropriate form of protection.